I cut the tip of my thumb off with the mandolin, so I'm a little afraid of it. Welcome back to Fort Lewis. Today we are making old-fashioned probiotic sauerkraut. This is one of my favorite treats. I put it on salad, beans, sometimes I just eat it straight out of the jar. It's kind of an amazing thing. It consists of shredded cabbage and salt. That's it. But it begins to ferment and it creates all of these probiotics, and it's full of vitamin C, and it's just super yummy. I love this stuff. All you need to do is core and shred your cabbage, put a little salt on it, and massage it until the liquid in the cabbage comes out. Super easy. Today I've got 2 heads of cabbage we're gonna do, and I'm going to be fermenting them in this really cool thing I have called a Korean kimchi box. I found this on Amazon. I've actually purchased several. They're fabulous. They don't smell. Sauerkraut is a little stinky. So this is going to keep all the smell inside of here while it's fermenting. And it's got a self-vacuuming lid so that no air is going to come in there while you're fermenting. And it's got a little burper on it, so you can let the excess gases out without opening the entire operation up. So we're going to work this cabbage into a sauerkraut, and then we're going to leave it for 7-8 days, put it in a couple of jars, and then enjoy it. So I'm going to cut up our cabbage real fast. These outer leaves I save for the compost pile. And then this is what we're going to be using. Everybody has their own method for cutting a cabbage, but this works well for me. I just cut it in half, and then I'm going to be taking out this hard core. You can eat it, it just doesn't get very soft in the fermentation process. So we'll cut that out by just slicing a little wedge into the cabbage and tearing it away. That can also be composted. And then you just shred it finely. So I'll do this first head and then show you the massaging process. I'm not the world's best chopper. I try to keep it pretty consistent. You want your cabbage to be pretty fine. And we're going to put it in a big bowl. You can also do this on a mandolin. I cut the tip of my thumb off with the mandolin, so I'm a little afraid of it. I feel a little safer with my knife skills than with that. This is pretty amazing. Cabbage is right now at Berkshire's 49 cents a head, and you use, I don't know, maybe 50 cents worth of salt in this process. But in the stores, they sell brands like Bubby's for like $9 a jar, and I was hooked on them in Austin. I bought one a week because they just made me feel good. So I learned how to make my own. I couldn't believe how easy it was. All right, I don't measure really when I do this. I've done it lots of times. I just take the salt and I lightly shake it over the cabbage. And then what you're gonna do with clean hands, you just start to massage the cabbage. This can take a while, but what you're doing, you're breaking down the fibers, and the liquid inside the cabbage is gonna come up. I do this in batches, so I don't throw cabbage all over my counter. I'm just gonna work it for several minutes. Okay, it's quite a workout. I've been squeezing and massaging for a few minutes now. The cabbage is starting to express a lot of its liquid, and it gets a little foamy, kind of messy, and you can see that that half a head of cabbage has been reduced down to almost nothing. So I'm going to take this half, press it firmly into the bottom of my fermenting box, and then just continue the process through the next head and a half. The goal is to submerge the cabbage in its own liquid. So as you're massaging it, it lets out all this great liquid. You press it into the bottom of your box as tight as you can, and the liquid should begin to cover the top of the cabbage. Okay. So, 1 down, 3 to go. Okay, we have processed all 2 heads of cabbage in 4 separate batches. We have packed the sauerkraut into our vessel. If you don't have one of these, you can also use a mason jar. Just make sure that you keep your sauerkraut submerged in the liquid the entire time that it's fermenting. You can use a cabbage leaf or a glass weight, something just to keep it underneath the liquid. But this lid does that for me in this box. It's super easy. Now, sometimes the cabbage will get a little foamy when you're working with it, and mine did. There's enough liquid, but there's also a lot of air bubbles in here, and so what I think I'm gonna do is just add a little extra brine. So I've got maybe half a cup of water, and I'm just gonna put tiny bit of salt in here to cover the top of my cabbage and hopefully break up some of this foam that is on the top. Okay, so we're gonna put our lid on, maybe clean up the sides of the box where you've pressed all your cabbage in. This will just help us get a nice tight seal. Okay. So I'm going to put this in kind of at an angle and press all the way until liquid starts coming from the top here. Snap my airlock in place. I'm going to soak up some of this juice. Okay, so you're gonna let it sit 7 to 10 days, and when it's finished, you want to transfer it over to a container and put it in the refrigerator. This is a batch I made a couple of weeks ago. It should have a nice kind of cloudy brine. It should smell like cabbage, only better. And when it's finished, it'll still have a nice bite to it, kind of a crunch. So good. It's great on sandwiches, salads. Sometimes I just put a little pile on my plate next to whatever I'm eating. Full of probiotics, and they also use it as a digestive aid. So great for you, and really easy to do at home. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the bell below and you'll be notified of new content. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you again real soon at Fort Lewis.